My name is Donna Fortune, and today I'm going to read you a book about an ordinary person who changed the world. The title of the book is I Am Dolly Parton, written by Brad Meltzer and illustrated by Christopher Eliopoulos. I'm a very curious person and enjoy learning about the world, its animals, different cultures, technology, and ordinary people like you and me who have done some pretty awesome things. I chose this book because, like so many other people, I think Dolly Parton was an extraordinary person who dared to dream big. What's an extraordinary person? Let's read the story about Dolly Parton and see if we can figure it out. I am Dolly Parton. Once upon a time, on the coldest day of the year, in the foothills of the Great Smoky Mountains of East Tennessee, a little girl was born in a one-room cabin. That girl was me. If that sounds like a fairy tale, you'll see my life sure does feel like one. This girl is squalling. Something tells me she's just getting started. We were so poor, my daddy paid Dr. Thomas with a sack of cornmeal. I like to joke I've been raking in the dough ever since. I was the fourth of 12 kids, a little firecracker unafraid to wrestle with my brothers. Eventually, we moved to a two-room shack for all of us. I got you. No, I got you. No, I got you. Well, there's 12 kids. There's lots of games to play. Growing up, my mama read me stories from the Bible, which planted the seeds for my love of reading. One of my favorite books was this one, The Little Engine That Could. I think I can, I think I can. Books showed me there was a world beyond the Smoky Mountains. As kids, to keep the wind out of our shack, we'd use newspapers as wallpaper. It may sound strange, but it was fun to stand on our heads and read the comics. Ha, that's hysterical. I'll tell you one thing about being poor, it makes you creative. To save money, my daddy would carve wood toys, while my mama would make us dolls out of corn cobs. The first song I wrote at 8 years old was about this corncob doll. Little tiny tassel top, I love you an awful lot. The only time we got store-bought toys was Christmas. One toy for each of us. My brothers would get fireworks. I'd get a doll. It didn't even have clothes, but I thought it was so fancy. One Christmas, Daddy told us he wasn't buying any presents. He needed the money to finally get Mama a real wedding ring. That year, our Christmas present was a single box of chocolate-covered cherries that we all shared. Don't feel bad. Seeing my Mama happy made it the most special Christmas of all. You see, to understand who I am, you need to understand where I'm from, and also who I've come from. My daddy taught me the value of hard work, but it was my mama's side that gave me the gift of music. They were always picking banjos and mountain instruments. There you go, Dolly, find that beat. Ting, ting, ting. Today, it's easy to find music on the TV or radio, but back then, we didn't have electricity. Luckily, we did lots of singing in church. There you go, Dolly, just like that. Some said my voice was weird, but I kept singing. Even before I could write, I was making up songs. To stand out, since Daddy didn't let us wear makeup, I'd put flour on my face and rouge my cheeks with pokeberries. Ta-da! How's it look? They certainly won't forget you. My first performances were on our porch with a tin can for a microphone. I'd sing to the kids that I was babysitting. I'd sing to whatever animals I could find. Heck, I'd sing to dirt if no one was around. When I was 10 years old, my Uncle Bill got me my first radio performance. Okay, girl, show us what you got. I looked for help, but I knew it was up to me. I sang as if I've never had another chance. The crowd exploded, and unlike the kids I babysat, none of them crawled away. But if my family taught me anything, it's that success doesn't come easy. God gives us all our own gifts, but you need hard work to make the most of them. One fall, my mama made me a patchwork coat out of scraps of fabric. Ever heard the Bible story of Joseph and his coat of many colors? It was given to him so he'd feel loved and special. Almost done? Not much longer. When it was finished, I was so excited to show off my coat at school. I thought it was the grandest thing in the world. But when the other kids saw it, yuck, it's just a bunch of rags. So ugly. It's hard when you don't feel like you belong. So often as a kid, I felt different, lonely, like I wasn't the same as anyone else. Where I came from, people never dreamed of seeing the world, but I wanted to know what was on the other side of the mountain. That's why I love butterflies so much. I used to imagine that they had a magic power, that they'd fly me and see the world. I know what makes me sound like a dreamer, but that's a good thing. You never know where your dreams can take you. At 12 years old, mine took me to an abandoned nearby church that I went to for some quiet time. Anybody here? Inside, I couldn't believe what I saw. It wasn't just the old piano. It was something else, something I could feel. Like God was shining a light and wanted me to be me. Like it was all right for me to dream. All right for me to see the world. And of course, all right for me to sing my songs. At 13, I got on a big interstate bus with my grandma. My uncle said that if I could get it to Lake Charles, Louisiana, I'd get my very own recording session. I'd never traveled like this. And boy, I loved the adventure. That same year, I got to sing at the Grand Ole Opry, where the most famous country music singers perform. A musician named Johnny Cash introduced me. We've got a little girl here from up in East Tennessee. I froze until a flashbulb went off. Then I smiled at the people in the balcony and let her rip. I got called back for 3 encores. At my high school graduation, each student was asked to announce their plans for the future. I told everyone, I'm going to Nashville to become a star. The crowd laughed. It made me even more determined. The very next morning, I was on a bus to Nashville. I had my dreams, an old guitar, and matching luggage. 3 paper bags from the grocery store. Most important, I had my songs. I'd write songs everywhere, on napkins, torn paper, even on Kleenex boxes. Sometimes I'd write while on the bus. And sure, I wrote about love and heartbreak, like other country singers, but I also wrote about things that were more personal. I'll call this one Coat of Many Colors. My coat of many colors that my mama made for me, made only from rags, but I wore it so proudly. My music career felt like it was finally starting. After winning an award for Country Song of the Year, I got an offer to be co-host of a popular TV show. This new Dolly woman, she's good. Even there, I kept writing songs, especially about subjects that were overlooked by others, problems that everyday people went through. Miss Dolly, I'd love your autograph. Of course, sweetie. What's your name? Jolene. What a strong name. I'm going to use it in a song. And she did. But let me tell you, the more successful I became, the more some people tried to treat me like a sidekick. I'm nobody's sidekick. I think it's time for me to leave the show and go out on my own. You're going to regret this, he said. I didn't regret it. My co-host made me pay him around $1 million, saying he was the reason for my success. I knew he was wrong, and that it would take me years to get that money back. We eventually made up. Forgiveness is vital. But I wanted a fresh start, and I knew with hard work, I'd make it on my own. That's exactly what happened. Instead of wearing what other people wanted me to wear, I put on flashy, colorful costumes that fit my personality. I've never seen anyone like her. Isn't she amazing? Instead of just singing country songs, I started singing to all audiences. You just sold 1 million copies. Instead of just being a music star, I was also in the movies. 9 to 5 was one of the movies. Listen to this part. Tumble out of bed and stumble to the kitchen, pour myself a cup of ambition. And that was written while she was waiting on set at that movie, 9 to 5. I even started my own charity, Dolly Parton's Imagination Library, which promotes reading by giving away free books to kids like you. The first book we started with, The Little Engine That Could. Reading and education is how you help kids find their happily ever after. Eventually, I opened my own amusement park. I wanted a place where people could dream and fantasize all they wanted. We didn't put it in California or Orlando. We put it right here in the Great Smoky Mountains of Tennessee, 10 miles from where I grew up. The business people said it'd never work. I didn't listen to them. They even have a replica of Dolly's original house here. In every song I sing, know what I'm really doing? Telling a story. Stories of everyday people, poor people, people who feel invisible or unseen. I write about women and men going through hard parts of life. And the more I sing about triumphs and sorrows, the more people realize they're not alone. At my concerts, you can find the old and the young, rich and poor, gay and straight, city folks and country folks, black and white, and everyone else you can imagine. I love them all. I don't judge who people are as long as they're themselves. In my life, I came from humble beginnings, and that was just fine by me. I was never ashamed of it. It made me who I am. And it gave me the foundations of my life, my faith, my family, and my music. It's okay to be different. It's okay to feel unseen. Sometimes the world won't be cheering for you, but I will be. Whatever mountain gets in your path, keep climbing. It's the only way to see what's on the other side. Did you know that Dolly has written around 3,000 songs, including I Will Always Love You, which hit #1 for 14 weeks. She's won 10 Grammys and sold 100 million albums worldwide. Her Imagination Library has gifted over 185 million books to kids around the world, and that number grows by 2 million every month. Every year, more than 3 million visitors go to Dollywood, which accounts for nearly 20,000 jobs in the local community. She even helped fund COVID-19 research, which helped create a vaccine. There's only one thing you got to be in your life, yourself. Whatever you are, be authentically that. And the people who look, sound, or think different from you, love them for who they are too. Your dreams are worth dreaming. Your songs are worth singing. Your story is worth telling, just as it is. Be proud of who you are, and don't ever limit yourself. I am Dolly Parton, and I see the light that shines within you. Wow, what a great book about an ordinary person who changed the world. Dolly Parton. I learned something else while reading this book. I read many of these books from this Ordinary People Who Changed the World series. And the author, Brad Meltzer, he's New York Times bestselling author of Heroes for My Son, Heroes for My Daughter, The Lincoln Conspiracy, and a number of suspense novels like The Lightning Rod. He also helped find the missing 9/11 flag with his History Channel television show, Brad Meltzer's Lost History. He lives in Florida with his wife and their children. And did you know that a picture of Brad is hidden in every book of the series? Never knew that. Christopher Eliopoulos, the illustrator, began his illustration career at Marvel Comics and has worked on thousands of comics, including Cowboy and Franklin Richards' Son of a Genius. He's the author and illustrator of picture books, The Yawns Are Coming, The Giggles Are Coming, and the graphic novels Comic Commandos and Monster Mayhem. He lives in New Jersey with his wife and their college student twin sons. His twin sons also make appearances in each Ordinary People Change the World book. I'm going to have to go back and look at all these books and find these characters. It's been my pleasure to share this book about Dolly Parton and her amazing story with you today. I hope to see you all again on Lunenburg Storytime. Thanks for watching.
Hi, I'm John Fortune, and I want to share with you a story about a place we went to recently on an Ireland tour. Ireland is a beautiful country, and we were able to see so many wonderful places on this trip. Not only is the country beautiful, but the Irish people are very nice, and they are wonderful storytellers. Everything from leprechauns to dragons to giants might be the subject of a good Irish tale. This story is one conceived at Giant's Causeway, a natural feature on the northern coast of Ireland formed 60 million years ago. The story is called Vivienne and the Giant's Boot, written by Patrick Fitzsimmons and illustrated by William Simpson. Let's hear about what Vivienne sees when she visits Giant's Causeway. Seagulls call from the blue sky above her as Vivienne follows a path around the corner of a hill, holding her breath, feeling her heartbeat that little bit faster. What if today it's not there? What if someone has come and taken it away at last? But she needn't worry. There it is, the Giant's Boot. I mean, a giant's boot. A real, honest-to-goodness giant's boot. It's huge. Just lying there by the sea, washed up, or maybe left behind when the giant who owned it went for a swim. She loves the smooth feel of it. It mustn't have been here a very long time. So tough and weathered, almost like stone. The waves swish around the rocks, and a gentle breeze plays with her hair. There's no better place in the world to lie back and just be. The sun warms her face, and the world seems to turn more slowly as daydreams flit like butterflies in her mind. Giants' boots are just like anyone else's, aren't they? Maybe a bit bendier because their feet are so long. And old-fashioned, too. But that must be because little giants get a lot of clothes and shoes handed down when other giants grow out of them. I mean, there aren't many shops where giants can go buy new things in the high street, are there? Whoever lost it, he must surely have missed it walking home. Maybe it's not a man's. Maybe it's a woman's boot. And maybe there was a pair to begin with, left side by side on the shore when the giants swam or waded over to Scotland. Maybe one was taken by that old woman who had all those children and didn't know what to do. There's a song or a poem about her, isn't there? Or maybe it was borrowed by someone who needed a small boat in a hurry and forgot to return it. It looks so old. It must have been here on this very spot. When the Vikings sailed past in their long ships 1,000 years ago, above the wind she can hear the sound of a horn blowing in the distance and the shouts of men splashing ashore, coming to have a closer look. Some of them were battered and broken by the powerful waves. Could the sailors see the boot as they struggled toward shore? When men wore top hats and ladies had big dresses and parasols, they came to stroll here, arm in arm, on Sunday afternoons. Their little sons and daughters ran to the boot, climbed over it, played games all around it. Or perhaps they just lay here, dreaming in the summer sunshine. It's like all these people from the past have been looking after it in a way. Just like me, thinks Vivienne, I'm keeping an eye on the boot for everyone who will come in the future. Or at least until the giant comes back. And that's the end of that story. Wasn't it a wonderful book? Vivienne sure does have a great imagination. She can picture the giant that left the boot behind. When I go out in the woods, somewhere new to me, I often try and imagine what it was like in the past. Were the trees this big? Was that rock always there? Is this an area where Native Americans traveled through? We can all imagine new things, small and large. I hope when you walk or travel someplace different, you use your imagination to create a story along the way. It's fun and can make the new adventure very exciting. I'm John Fortune, and I want to thank you for watching Lunenburg Storytime. See you next time.